Wilt Chamberlain came to the gym and he would do a tricep extension that, like, the big guys, the strongest guys would do, let's say, 120 pounds, let's say. He would come and he would do 150, 170 pounds, Wilt Chamberlain. That's how strong he was.
They always said he was by far the strongest person who's ever played the NBA.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember that he lifted me up like with one arm like nothing.
When you said strength, one time in a game, Casey Jones tied him up. He was really upset. And so Wilt Chamberlain picked up the ball with Casey still attached. And he picked it up with his arms extended, brought it to his chest, and threw a two-handed chest pass with Casey still on the ball. That's how strong he was.
NBA's all-time team celebration, Cleveland, 1997. And over in the corner is Wilt and Michael Jordan. And they're sitting at a table arguing vociferously as to who the greatest player of all time is. And they're back and forth. And they're just intense as could be. And Wilt, who always has the last word in everything, Wilt looked down at Michael and said, Michael, just remember, when you played, they changed all the rules to make it easier for you to come. When I played, they changed all the rules to make it harder for me. Instead, there was no comeback.
I'm gonna tell you something. As bad as you look, you didn't miss by that much. You just see me make two in a row. No, I had to sample my fast. There you go. I'll give you $5. I just made the last three of them. I don't care. This is the one I'm talking about for $5. Get it up. Get it up.
Cast off a shot that appeared to be 3 feet above the basket, and Wilt jumped up and caught this ball with one hand. The referee called goaltending, and I hollered at him, how could you call that goaltending? And he says, guy, what I just saw is not humanly possible.
Wilt Chamberlain's playing with four of my freshmen against Magic, Bernard King, James Worthy, Byron Scott, and it's game point. Magic throws a sky hook, Wilt blocks it, Magic calls game. And Wilt says, that wasn't goaltending, that was a clean block. And Magic took the ball, he said, game over, next. And Wilt says, all right, look, we're gonna play a game till 12, winner stays, and there'll be no more shots made at this basket. He blocked every shot. 43 years old. He was blocking everything. It was unbelievable.
Called me up one day. Sports Illustrated had a cover and said, is Dennis Rodman the best rebounder ever? So he called me up and he asked me, did I believe this bleep? And so I said, well, I don't pay attention to that. He says, I had more rebounds a quarter than he had a whole game.
He was Goliath. The strongest basketball player that ever lived. Case closed.
Wilt was a Paul Bunyan figure. Mythic in what he could personally do.
When he made the moves with Arnold Schwarzenegger, they were at the weight room. And Wilt says, well, how do you do that? And Arnold goes, well, this way you do it. You push up. So Wilt lays down on the bench, gets up under it. Me. And Schwarzenegger never came into the weight room with Wilt again.
And the track coach one time and said, Coach, I'd like to enter in the high jump. And Bill said, well, Wilt, he said, you haven't even practiced. He said, how could you possibly compete? And he said, well, just give me a chance. Wilt won the Big 7 high jump championship with no practice at all.
Mel was tough and rough, and anybody that kind of shoved him back, that was the last time you'd shove him because he'd come after you. And he started to fight with Flynn Robinson, and in those days, we'd all jump off the bench and run to start helping the fight. Well, I was on the court and I saw 6 guys on our team come charging off the bench, and it's like they ran into a brick wall. They just stopped, frozen. And I wondered, what the heck is going on? I turned around, and out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody walking towards Mel. I walked up. Now, Mel was one of the strongest people I've ever met. You shake his hand, he might kill you. He picked Mel up. He walked right up to Mel, picked him up off the ground, and here's his legs are dangling like the little kids. Had him in a vice and told him, "Oh, Mel, you better calm down." Mel came back to the bench and said, "How come you guys didn't come on and help me with Wilt?" And Freddie looked at him and said, "You gotta be kidding, right? Nobody's gonna mess with Wilt." Was the strongest human being I've ever seen in my life.
What was the toughest thing for you playing against him?
I could never play him the same way 2 games in a row because it would not work. And so through the whole time we played against each other, every game was different.
He never fouled out of professional basketball games in his entire career.
He was so great that no matter what he did, people never accepted him as being enough.
If you win, everybody says, well, look at him, he's that big. If you lose, it's, how can he lose a guy that size?